I love to talk about this stuff. It's always healing for me and hopefully healing for the people that hear it. I was 22. I was living in Colorado, in Longmont, Colorado, working in a restaurant from 2 in the afternoon to midnight, smoking pot very regularly, drinking pretty regularly. It was nice. It was nice to be in that environment with other people doing the same thing. I was thinking I should go back to school and do something a little more purposeful. One of the biggest things that happened is my direction changed. I also just started meeting a lot of people that had NDEs. It did get me in line with my purpose. It's an ongoing process. It's still going on. I was living in Longmont, Colorado with my roommate was a friend of mine from childhood. So our parents lived back in the northeast of the United States. And we had decided to drive back and visit our parents for a little while. He had a 280Z, a fast, great, fun car to drive. We had just driven close to 2,000 miles from Colorado to New York. He dropped me off at my parents' house, and we were going to rest and then connect later and see what was up. Somehow we found out about a party going on with one of our friends from high school, so we decided to go. My mom had this little Ford Bobcat that I borrowed from her to go to the party. It was partying. It was really crowded. I mean, it was a really happening party with live music, people dancing, and just to walk through the living room of the house, you'd have to push through. I wanted to go back the next day and kind of flirt with her and hopefully ask her out. So I decided to pretend I was too high to drive. I had my friend drive me back to my parents. Almost all the way there, I realized my sister needed to use my mom's car the next day for work. I had him bring me back to the party. I remember going into the party and walking through the crowds to go tell this woman I was going to take my car. I remember going through the crowds to get to the front door. I don't remember actually leaving the front door. I have flashes of walking down the front pathway to my car. And then the next thing I remember, I was out of my body. The car was below me. I was in the white light. The car was smashed. There was a big tree there, and my body was leaning against a tree with the legs out like that. There was a police officer crouching over me. I assume he pulled me out of the car, but I never verified that. I did go back, not the next day, after I got out of the hospital and looked. There was this little tiny dent in the tree. Like almost nothing happened to it. But the car, when I looked at it, it was amazing that I even survived. So I was in the white light. There was white light all around me, a big circle of white light behind me, and like a full silhouette of a person in there with all different shades of white light radiating off of that person. So I still use that feeling now to meditate and do healing work. Part of me just wants to lift out of my body into this beautiful light that feels so nice, is loving and caring, and it just seems like there's no problems there whatsoever. The being behind me said, "You have to go back. Your father wants you to stay." Because everything seemed okay everywhere. Where I was on the earth, just everywhere. And I just went back into my body without thinking twice about it and came to 3 days later in the hospital. But I know my experience from me, I know that it happened. Sometimes I work with people and they get better in 2 seconds. The effect that it had on me was real. The change in my life, the change in my direction. Part of it, something I could not deny, happened. I just started meeting people that were teaching me. One of the really cool things that happened, I was sitting in my apartment and someone knocks on the door. I opened the door. There was this beautiful woman there, and she said to me, "I'm the sister of a friend of yours from Colorado. I heard some really interesting things about you from my sister, and I know this person who teaches about what happens after you die, and I want to introduce you to him." So I ended up studying with this person she introduced me to and really developing the things that happened to me in my near-death experience. It's more like there's just a oneness and everything is one. I'm a very feeling, kinesthetic person anyway, so a lot of it was feelings. The person that the woman who knocked on my door introduced me to was a Sufi sheikh. So he would talk about the ocean of divine love and benevolence. And it was like, wow, that's what that white light felt around me. He also started to talk to me about Mary and Jesus. He said how open Mary was to God's energy and to the energy of the Christ. And it's like, that describes what I felt. And when I started to talk about Jesus, I just knew that being behind me was Jesus. It was really discovering things along the way, and I wasn't even necessarily choosing into it because it just kept happening to me, and something kept pushing me in that direction. One thing that happened was when I would touch people, my hands would become warm almost instantly, and sometimes really hot. My intuition increased. It was struggling with what I was taught growing up, and this thing inside of me that kept pushing me and pulling me in the right direction. I was curious, but I also, oh man, it'd just be easier to go back to work. But there was no denying it at this point. I was teaching a class at the University of Bridgeport for my doctoral treatise, I wrote about this breathing exercise. So I would go places and teach classes on breathing and meditation. And after one of the classes, a woman who set it up for me said she was teaching a class. I don't remember if it was called Death and Dying or Living and Dying, but it was about different traditions and different cultures, about the process of dying and funerals and all that stuff. And I said to her, I had a near-death experience, and she got all excited. And she said, you have to come teach to my class. So I posted something on Facebook, and so many people came back saying, oh, I want to hear more about that. And that's when I first started feeling comfortable to actually talk about it. But I meditate, I do other things to be able to hold that energy. When I work with people, they have a transformation. I started taking this class and I found out that the energy from my near-death experience and what happened to my touch, it was a concrete way to channel that into helping people. So that was the beginning of really understanding in my body, the things in my head and my heart and my body coming together. And not too long after that, I realized I wanted to change my career from being in a family electrical contracting business to doing healing work. I know that I help people because sometimes really amazing things happen. I'm still in awe of it. It's still like this is the most amazing thing in the world. What I do is kind of like hold that energy from my near-death experience around people. It always works. Sometimes people who don't believe in it are easier to work with because they're not trying to manage what's going on in their mind because they have no expectations about it. It's also knowing there's something really miraculous in that person. And within that, there's healing for them. This energy comes in, there's kind of a path to God there. I know this person can go down that path without pushing them, but kind of opening it and inviting them. A lot of times people just feel the energy flooding into their body. Within seconds, people just start to say, oh, I feel all this energy in my body all over the world. I think it's important to continue your education in anything if you're really passionate about it. And I meditate every day. I do Tai Chi, I do yoga, I do journal writing, because I want to keep working and doing that more and more, to be able to do it more, to be able to help people more. There's so many different kinds of love, that pure love. There's a part of it that's letting go of some of those details, and it's like, wow, that just doesn't really matter. Like, can I get into that love? Can I connect into the spirit? Can I mentioned my daughter, who I love so much, so there's, even with her, she's 19, and she's a good kid, but there's times I wish she would just do what I say, and that's like, well, the more important thing is that I love her and hold that loving inside of me in relation to her. I think that's true for everything, in every part in our life. Can we love ourselves? Can we be in our internal spiritual loving in relation to whatever's going on? And it's just this expansive thing of, it's just so nice. And even, love is close, but there's no way to describe what it is. So it is this openness, it puts a smile on my face, my heart opens, there's something in me that would kind of like to know more, but then I've learned, no, don't, just appreciate this expansion, appreciate that feeling. To know that you have something amazing inside of you, and there's a way to express that in the world. Yeah, I have clients all over the world, Japan, Africa, Brazil, Australia, and the United States, of course. And but my website is lawrencebrock.com. My YouTube channel is Dr. Lawrence Brock, and you can text or WhatsApp me in a message at 732-567-6388, and it's in the United States, so +1 for the country code.